I'm trying to qualify for the TFT World Championships. To do that, I need to qualify for the NA Regional Finals. To do that, I probably need to get a lot of qualifier points through other tournaments, such as the Miracle Run we had in the Corrupted Cup. That's also going to be the focus for this video. My Set 8 journey started in the Defender Cup, which you guys probably already saw. Lots of mistakes that day, and had I played better, I actually would have made it through, so that was all my fault. For this new tournament, the Corrupted Cup, I vowed not to make the same mistake again. Ever since the patch came out, I played and VOD reviewed every single day, and that may sound like a lot, but in reality, it was actually only 2 days because the patch came out on a Thursday and the tournament was on Saturday. Fun times there. This Set 8, is very important to me because it is the first time I'm going all out since Set 1. You may have already noticed that because I have been playing a ton more and making a lot more in-depth videos compared to every other set. Keep in mind, I didn't actually start making guides until the very end of Set 1, so this is probably the most active I've ever been in TFT. The tricky part about this tournament was that since the patch was released right before the tournament, it was also coincidentally one of the bigger patches, if not the biggest, of the set so far. Essentially, we went from patch 13.1c directly to 13.3 because they skipped one of their patch cycles. This gave way to many game mechanic changes, namely the 4 rerolls for hero augments. Although many team compositions did not actually get that affected by the patch, this augment change introduced a lot of reroll comps that were not yet big in the meta. There was also a rise in popularity of the Lee Sin augment, Cleansing Safeguard, which took advantage of this new mechanic. Unfortunately, a lot of the new reroll comps that are being played right now, they were never that strong on the live parts of this set, and since I never played on the PBE server, I had almost no experience with a lot of these comps, namely Renekton, Poppy, and Lux for 1-cost rerolls, and Jinx, Vi, Lee Sin, Draven, and Camille for 2-cost rerolls. Not knowing these comps was a big disadvantage for me because it made me mentally unprepared for the tournament. Since it's difficult to just force these comps on rank ladder because you can't always get the augments with a good opener for them, practicing the rerolls became almost impossible. Combine this with the fact that I lost 250 LP right as the patch came out until the very start of the tournament, my confidence was at an all-time low. Regardless, in those 2 days, I worked with 2 of my friends, Voidsin and Pokygam. You may know Voidsin already as he does the meta snapshot, but Pokygam was also a secret weapon. He was the highest rated player who was not playing in the tournament, sitting in the top 5 at 1400 LP in the days leading up to the Corrupted Cup. With Pokygam, we identified every single takeable augment and when to go for them in the early game, which really helped out my preparation. Let's get into the format of the tournament. It started out with 128 players, and then after day 1, we dropped down to 64, and then after that, we dropped down to 32, and those 32 players would advance on into the next week. In order to qualify from day 1 to day 2, you historically needed around 27 points. You get points in each game based on your placement. You get 8 for first place, 7 for second, all the way down to 1 point for 8th place. If you want to be safe, you could get 1 more point at 28, and you also have to keep in mind, this is not a set number because it's dynamic based on how well people play during the course of the tournament. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you scored higher in the first day, you get bonus points moving on into the next day. So if you are in the top 8 out of the 128, you get 3 bonus points moving into day 2, which help a lot. What's interesting about this tournament is that some players did not show up, and a lot of the standby players also were not prepared to play, leading to 2 forfeited slots, which meant that the point total would be inflated for qualifying, which means that you most likely needed 28 points to qualify in this specific tournament's day 1. It isn't too bad though because you just needed to average a 4.33 throughout the tournament. We started game 1 with a Rod, and Rod was my choice of pick on these carousels for this tournament. Bow is by far the best item, but with 3 or 4 people going for bow every single game, I'd rather get the guaranteed Rod, Tier, then Belt or Chain, just to guarantee a decent item. We start off stage 2 with a Ribbon and a Vayne, which means that I kind of want to go Anima squad. We get a surprise prismatic opener, and here I think a little bit outside the box, so we don't have the Anima squad augment. So we have to make it ourselves. I end up taking the Earth's grab bag here because we have 2 rods, and you could just make your own Anima squad soul. Granted, not as good as the actual one, as this is one of the best performing augments right now. Anima Squad Soul gives you a ribbon, it gives you an Ionic Spark, and it gives you an Anima Squad emblem. Here instead, I just get a spatula and 3 random items. I don't get the bonus ribbon, and I don't get Ionic Spark, which is one of the best items in the comp. Here I'm pretty happy because Anima Squad is the bunny comp after all, so everything's going right well in order. I play the Anima Squads, putting the spatula on my upgraded Galio, and we're also going to slam the Rage Blade on Vayne. I really love Rage Blade on Vayne in this comp because it gives you a big margin of safety if you ever get Vayne 2 while you're still holding a MF1 carry. The comp doesn't really come online until you get MF2, so having the Vayne a little bit itemized but not too much is really helpful. You could have also built the Static Shiv here to keep the rod for your MF, because Static Shiv also works well in this comp since we don't have the Ionic Spark yet. On the carousel, we wanted to finish off our Sunfire Cape by grabbing the belt, but unfortunately we don't get that option, so instead you could go for something like either the rod or the Spear of Shojin. Both items work here. After leveling up and losing the next round, we actually luck out and get an early misfortune here, which obviously really defines our game right now. At this point, I'm already trying to play for a first. Getting the start is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, or maybe just once in a tournament. You get a Thieves Glove off the Krugs, so we're probably going to go ahead and slam that. Nasus is a great holder for Thieves Glove because he could use all the type of stats that you can get in the game. He can use tank items really well, he can use ability power, and he could use attack damage and attack speed. The only downside is that he's just not the best unit, but you could put it on him anyways. Another good candidate for Thieves Glove is just any random legendary or even Vayne if you don't have any items on her, because you generally focus on MF items in the Anima Squad comp. Lo and behold, we get our first champion augment of the tournament. Here I'm looking for either Spread Shot or Reverberation. Both of them work here. In hindsight, I think Spread Shot may be better, but I end up going for Reverberation. Spread Shot's the choice if you want to go more for a Vayne focus build, which we probably do in most cases, but since I already had the MF, I opt to go for the Ribbon because I want to focus more on an MF build this game. Both choices work here, and honestly, you're just happy you got either of them at all. I think Spread Shot's much better in recon builds, which we're not really going for this game, and it's better if you have the Spear of Shojin on your Vayne already. Since I have it on MF, it's a little different here. Reverberation is just all around really solid right now because it's just a really tanky augment that really enables the Anima Squad comp because you don't really have that strong of a tank. The only Anima Squad tanks are Nasus and Riven, and I don't really count Silas, so you're left with your strongest tank as a 3-cost unit, which generally aren't that strong, but with the carry augment, it's pretty doable. On this carousel, we need to complete either a bow item or a chain vest item, so the most obvious thing that comes to mind is going to be the belt for Sunfire Cape. We are last pick, so we can't really choose anything too much, so I'm probably going to go for either the Static Shiv here with one of the tiers, or go for the glove so that we can build an MF item. MF loves using stuff like Guard Breaker, or even a Jeweled Gauntlet. I end up placing the Static Shiv on my Vayne because she has a Rage Blade, but I actually think I should have put it on my Misfortune. It may seem a little counterintuitive because most people are thinking like, hey, you want 3 damage items on your MF, but honestly, the Static Shiv is good enough. We already have the Vayne as a secondary carry, and we need tank items for our Riven, so we don't actually have a lot of item slots for our Misfortune this game, especially since we already built a Thieves Glove too. Obviously, if we could get unlimited items, sure, put the Static Shiv on your Vayne, but that's not how TFT works. You only get a limited amount of items each game, so you really want to make sure that your MF is fully stacked. We get a bit of an odd item combo, but let's focus on this roll down first. We're looking for Vayne 2, more Rivens, and if we get lucky, an MF2. A random threat unit like Aurelion Soul, Belveth, or Zac also really help as well. Or we could find Jinx for 7 Anima, which is really good in the mid game. We do get a couple of units that we want, but we really need that Vayne 2 right now, so I think I should roll all the way down to 20. I'm just a little bit slow this game. Unfortunately, we do not get the Jinx for the 7 Anima Power Spike, but we do get another Spear of Shojin for our MF, which is more than enough. We're going to also jam the Protector's Vow, and I should sell this Galio on this very exact turn, and swap the tank item over to my Riven because whenever you have the Riven carry augment, you need her to have 3 items, and in this case, I can only put 1 on her. So you got to do what you got to do. Sell off your stupid Galio because there's just no need for him anymore. By the way, double Shojin might be one of the best MF builds, and not a lot of people actually do it. At least not that I've seen. Let's pick our last augment though. Lots of different options here, not Stand United. Ancient Archives is a little risky. You could get Prankster or Anima Squad, but Second Wind seems to be the obvious choice here. We have a bunch of tanks, and we also have Riven carry, so second win seems like a no-brainer, but for some reason I reroll. Don't really know why. Here, Cybernetic Uplink or Thrill the Hunt both work. I think Cybernetic is a little bit better because we have a pretty big item spread, and mana regen is really important on champions like Misfortune, and then we also drop in the A-Soul for good measure. Drop the spat on her, and then the tank item on Riven, and then we're kind of semi-decent from here. We're at 74 life, top 3 so far, so looking like a top 4. If we get MF2 somehow, we could maybe look for a top 3 or a top 2, and then if we get legendaries after that, you could look at a top 1. As you guys can see, this MF1 is already pretty stable, and with the Vayne 2 especially, we could look at the damage charts after. She ends up doing a lot of work, and I really like the Rage Blade. Look at that already. Vayne obviously is out-damaging the MF, but of course she's 2-starred, so she's supposed to kind of do that. On this carousel, we really need a tank item for our Riven, so Belt, Chain, Negatron, all those are going to be very well and welcome. We end up going for the Negatron here, but I think the Chain might be slightly better because we already have a static Shiv. Normally, Negatron builds into Ionic Spark, which we just don't really need this game. We get a good Zephyr on the mech from our Thieves Glove, and you guys can already see, again, like the double Shojin build, not bad because she gets the ult really early, especially with the Cybernetic Uplink. Unfortunately, I think Bel'Veth actually ends up stealing this round. Bel'Veth is just an all-around really solid unit right now. Just run her in pretty much any comp and she will just go ham, and she doesn't need anything to support her. That's the difference between her and other carries. She really doesn't need anything to really pop off. We end up getting a Chain, and then from the little item armory thing, we get either a Negatron or a bow or a glove. We really just need a tank item for our Riven, so I'm scouting now to see if we need Dragon Claw, and it seems like there's mainly more attack damage than ability power, so I think you could go either Titan's Resolve or the Stone Plate here. So now we need to do our big level up and roll down. This is a moment we've all been waiting for. Really need this MF2, drop in Zoe, and we also need Jinx, but we end up getting 2 Fiddlesticks. I probably should have bought Bel'Veth, especially since I have Anima Spatula, but I have it on my Echo instead. Legendaries typically are better holders of it, but I needed to just put the Anima Squad Spatula on anyone in the previous turn. So now we are facing off against a Kai'Sa player. Luckily, he is not Kai'Sa 3 yet. Typically, they aren't at 5-1, but maybe around like middle of stage 5. That's typically when I think people hit the Kai'Sa 3, but he does have very good items. He has the QSS Rage Blade combo going, but he doesn't really have the static Shiv, so I think we're able to make easy work of him. And then the next round, we get an Urgot, which I almost instantly buy. I'm going to use that to drop down to 5 Anima because I don't want to run Nasus or Silas in the late game. I'm going to be honest with you guys. So we're going to sell them. Who would you guys Thieves Glove here? I end up giving it to the Urgot, but maybe Fiddle could have used it too because Fiddle can make better use of the tank items. Urgot definitely makes better use of the damage items, but hey, there's always a give and take in TFT. We're going to roll down. We do have an MF pair. Unluckily, we did not get that many copies of Riven. I don't believe I was that contested this game, but you know, sometimes that happens. With this uplink, I'll just put the Negatron probably on the Jinx so we get her CC a little bit faster. I probably should have done that the last round, but hey, you know, there's other stuff to do sometimes. Do we get an item from Urgot? Nope. It's always gold. Not always, but like it feels like it always is. And yeah, this guy's got Samira too. He's got like Mech Wukong still for some reason. But I guess this Samira doesn't really have items. I don't actually know what this person is going. It's really just the Bel'Veth that's ruining our day. But as you guys can see, 2 people are already knocked out. So we're at 40 health now. There's one person at 18, one at 25. It's not looking like too bad right now. It could look a little better though. MF2 is really all we need here, but we're rolling down on stage 5. We rolled a lot of gold, so we do end up hitting it, which, thank the Lord, is a really big upgrade for us. Obviously, we end up winning that round, and then what item do you guys want here? I probably want 3rd MF item, so I get the Hextech Gunblade there, really the only takeable one. We go 1-1 in the next fights, and then finally, we could get a tank item for Riven. Unfortunately, I also have a Fiddlesticks 2-star, so I end up grabbing the Archangels for Fiddle. But let me know down in the comments, which item would you have taken here? Warmogs for your Champion Augment Riven, or Archangels for your Fiddlesticks? Looking back at it, I don't actually know which one's better. We face off against the Kai'Sa 3 person again. He doesn't really have any frontline, so I guess we're being chilling. Also, we Zephyr his Kai'Sa, a little bit of a rat move by me, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. They'll probably try to do the same thing to me, so in a tournament, I guess anything kind of goes. Did our MF do well? I guess she did. Did the Fiddle Archangels do that much of a difference? Honestly, with Fiddlesticks, like, yeah, he's pretty low on the damage charts, but that's not his fault because he got activated so late. And just like that, we get at least 3rd place. Let's do a little bit of scouting. So this guy's got the Wukong and like that package already. The other person's kind of like Belveth. No board. Oh, wait, he is selling his dude. He's going to put in an Alistair instead. This person has 2-star Leona. That could be an issue. So everyone's looking kind of decently strong. You know, a couple people have 2-star legendaries, myself included. Oh, he's got a 2-star newt. So everyone's got 1 2-star legendary. Mine might be the best one. Oh, no, that guy has 2 now. Okay, I am speaking way too early. We try to double Zephyr someone because we got it off our Thieves' Gloves. Always make sure to check the item. But we go for like a little trade there. We both Zephyr off our useless unit. And I guess that's like a gentleman's agreement, I guess. Not really. We're pretty far from Riven, but if we natural 1 more Riven, I probably do want a Riven 3 because there's a very big difference between Riven 2 and Riven 3. What's happening this fight? Man, this Belveth is really ruining our day. I'm pretty sure we lost. Oh, wait, we actually won this time. But I'm pretty sure that Belveth beat us every single time that they faced us, which is a little troubling. So what do you guys do here? Do we roll down all the way to 0, or do we try to level up to go to level 9? I opt to roll down. Let's see if we go ahead and hit. We are looking for, I guess, the Jinx too as well. We could hit Urgot. You know, hitting Urgot at 8 with 60 gold is actually pretty doable, I'd say. It's not like the most likely thing, but it's not out of the ordinary either. Also, Vayne 3 pretty good since we have 2 items on her. So I guess I think this roll down actually is fine. Pretty big chance that we hit something. But we also were a little slow. I should have rolled a little faster. I should have sold the Aphelios, sold the MFs, sold the Zoes, and rolled all the way to 0 this turn. Because one very important thing about the late game is that, yeah, you could greed out the gold for a couple more rounds, but if other people are trying to spike as well, or if they're spiking like really early, sometimes you just want to knock people out of the game. It's a bit of a judgment call each time. There's no like set method on like which one is always correct. But yeah, this Belveth, I guess got the... Oh, wait, there are 2 different Belveth players. Which one was the one that destroyed us? Maybe it was both of them, because I felt like we faced Belveth a lot this game. What do we want on the carousel here? Maybe the Riven with the Spats? That would be our last Riven, but I end up going for the Redemption. So Dragon Claw's decent, even though they're both attack damage, and pretty much we're never punished, so we get the Riven 3 anyways, but the regen off a Dragon Claw is also really good. So here I'm thinking I'm incredibly strong. We just hit our power spike. Riven 3 with Reverberation is absolutely insane. And I'm going to do some last second swappies. Just always try to mix it up a little bit. And we also Zeke our guys. So we're facing off against a Ghost here. Urgot 2, Acel 2, Belveth 2 with the Titan's Resolve. And I'm thinking here we're in a pretty decent spot, you know? We do whiff the Urgot ulti. We didn't really hit anyone, so that's a little unfortunate, but... we end up killing off a decent amount of people. And just like that, do we get second place? Oh man, this Radiant Titans Belveth is so strong, I guess. Oh, but the Nunu actually clutched it. So really close game. This dude's at 5 health. We are at 17 right now. Other person's at 18. So you could either greed, because we could reach level 9 on 7-1 if we just like chill, or you could roll down, maybe hit Vayne 3, because one person's going to face the Ghost and the other person might win. And so there's a pretty good chance that you actually reach stage 7 right now. So again, going to try to do some last second swaps. I'll try to leave it up for you because there's always so many things to look out for. You don't want to get Urgotted, you don't want to get Zephyred, you don't want to get Shrouded, but if they split them up, you pretty much always get hit. Very unlucky for us. We reach the guy that has 5 HP, and we do get a good Zephyr, not going to deny that, but we do run into a Shroud and an Urgot, and then our MF just does no damage to the Belveth because she's an Edge of Night. The Janet cleans up, and then I end up killing pretty much 0 units here, which is really unfortunate because if you look at the other board, my Ghost destroyed the other guy, and we lose by 1 HP. So we get third when I really think we deserved a second here. You guys want to have some fun? Let's check out my in-game reaction. How's that a third? No fucking way, man. I killed 0 units somehow. But let's shake it off. Let's move on into game number 2. The reason why I'm so angry is obviously this is important, and I felt like I had pretty good luck that game, and if you have pretty good luck, you need more than a third. I was really aiming for that second, especially since I was much clearly stronger than the other player. We end up getting a rod start, so pretty similar start to the other game. So we get a rod off the carousel, and then afterwards we get a belt and a tier off of these first few minion rounds. That leads us into a weird situation because we get into the next augment phase, and then we get Battle Mage, Ox Force, and Knife's Edge. I'm leaning more towards Battle Mage and Ox Force because I do have the rod. I also have 2 Jaxes, so I could go for a Jax reroll, or I could just go for Ox Force. I check my augment list, and it says always take Ox Force Crown, so I just go ahead and take that. We get pretty lucky on the Talon there, not going to deny that, but you also do get an extra Talon from that little orb there. We can't go Jax because we don't have any bows, so that isn't really that viable, even though we do have a Redemption for him. We build Redemption anyways because it's also decent in Ox Force, and then we put the Ox Force spat and the Titan's Resolve that we got from the augment on our Jax. Jax is actually an incredible user of this spatula, especially in the early game. Unfortunately, remember how we had 2 Jaxes on our bench? We had to sell one of them to level up because I wanted to prioritize win streaking since we have 2 2-stars. After winning the first 3 rounds, we want to finish off this rod item. This could either be Hat, Ionic Spark, probably those are the 2 most usable ones. Probably Hextech Gunblade works too. So literally any of those items, luckily we get one of them here, and it looks like we're going to go for the Ionic Spark over the Rabadon's Death Cap. This game we're win streaking, but had you been lose streaking, you could take the other rod to save one for Hextech Gunblade and then the other for an Ionic Spark or a Hat later on. But since I need to slam items, we need to complete the Ionic Spark, and so that's probably why I ended up taking it. And again, our team's doing a lot of work so far. This fight actually looks a little close because this person's board is actually not that bad either, but this combo is literally just unstoppable. The Redemption's healing up my team, and then Jax is just stacking up and whacking everyone down. Here we run into a Battle Mage player, which could be a little scary because they may or may not contest us. You can see he does have the Renegades on his bench, but because we have a better augment, it's probably going to be a better spot for us, but he could also flex into other things instead. Also, this 4 Ox Force is so good on Jax because it gives him exactly what he wants, a lot of attack speed, and when he gets lower, he gets even more, so he just ends up becoming a big machine, and easy 5 win streak right here. In our next shop, we get a Viego, so this is literally the perfect start I could have asked for this tournament. We got 3rd place in the first game, even though I thought we should have gotten 2nd, but this game is looking really good already. From this spot here, we get a rod and a glove, and we also got a little bit of gold, but with this early Viego, I'm already thinking we're at least top 3. The next augment is a little interesting because I need to continue my win streak. So none of these really help with that. Preparation helps a tiny bit, but preparation is more of like a delayed tactic. Trade sector obviously is an econ one, and then we reroll, and then we don't really get anything that we really like. We don't have that much healing, so first aid kit's not going to help that much. We only have a redemption. We don't have the healing item for Viego yet. And then Cybernetic Shell just really doesn't really help our team. And then Rich Get Richer obviously is an econ augment. So here I'm thinking we're just in a bit of trouble, but we just end up taking Rich Get Richer. Maybe we can just get Viego 2-star, which is really all you need in this comp. We have no unbuilt items, so on this next carousel after winning the next couple rounds, I really want this spatula because we could get either another Ox Force spat or a Renegade spat, so that one's really going to enable our team to have a super capped late game. Despite only having Rich Get Richer, we actually end up getting a 10 win streak anyways because our team was really just that strong. We got a Jax 2 and Cho'Gath 2 added onto our team, and pretty much nothing can stop this in the early to mid game, even this double laser core guy. So moving into the next round, whenever you're playing Ox Force, if you ever have spatula items, you really need to think about your secondary carries. You don't need to focus on just Viego. We end up getting a sword and a Negatron here, so unfortunately we don't get another Ox Force spat or the Renegade spat, but that's okay, we'll just build the Bloodthirster on our Viego to keep our streak going. We have 92 gold right now, so it goes to show like, yeah, we're probably going to lose this next round to this other Viego player, but that is more than perfectly fine because we have Rich Get Richer. So we're going to hit level 8 next turn and roll down a lot of gold. I think I make a pretty big mistake here on this augment selection. So I see Heartstopper, and I'm thinking we just take that no matter what because we really just need the Viego 2 and then we could go level 9. But I think I should have gotten the support Viego augment, which gives healing to everyone. Because again, as I said before, we have a bunch of spatulas. We have at least one. We want to have a duo carry comp. We're not solely relying on the Viego this game. So getting that getting that augment for Viego, the carry augment, it's still good, don't get me wrong, but with 4 rerolls, we're probably always going to get the support Viego augment, which just really helps my team a lot. The Leona one, I don't really care too much about because I think I'm just going to run vertical Ox Force. I do want a Leona eventually, but I don't really need her from the augment. We just really needed the Viego 2 right now in order to solidify our team. We get it in the nick of time despite rolling like gazillion gold on level 8. I don't know why it was that hard to find, but we are pretty chillin' here. And in the short term, the Viego augment that we did take is going to be a little bit better. But I think if I want to win out this game, which I should have been thinking of because we already got top 3 guaranteed, we needed to do everything in our power to get first place. Maybe we could have even found an Aphelios augment. That could have been helpful too. On this carousel, we want to finish off our spatula item. That's the chain vest that we wanted. But since we're last pick, we don't get to pick and choose. So with that in mind, we want to maybe start itemizing our ergot. So with that, you want to get something like the sword or the bow. Sword's a little better, and I guess we end up going for that. We end up having a rematch with the 9 laser core person or the double laser core person. I'm actually not sure if he's at 9 yet. He has so many of those spatulas though. If we had double Ox Force augment, I'm pretty sure we just win guaranteed, but we don't get that luxury yet. We do get a rod from our ergot, so that's definitely very nice. And our Viego looks like he was going to clean up, but for some reason, the Camille didn't get hit by the augment or by the Viego. I really don't know why or how that happened. It looked like she was right next to her, and that prevented a reset from killing the Zed. We have a lot of items to build after that dragon. I opt to go for a Runons for our ergot, but you could go hat on him too. There are a lot of different things you could do. Also, we don't get the Ox Force spatula, so that is really, really unfortunate. We don't even get a Renegade spatula. But we'll go ahead and Gunblade Runons, and then with this other stuff, maybe we build an Archangels, maybe we wait on another ergot item. Both options are pretty fine to me. After losing the first round, we are going to spend all our gold, level up to 9 on stage 5-2, and roll down a little bit. Hopefully we get some legendaries. Maybe I could have waited a turn or two more. I probably could have been a little more patient now that I look back into the game. Yeah, maybe wait till you're around 30 health before you roll, or level up and roll, and that would give you like a lot more chance to hit all the legendary 2-stars. So maybe like a bit of an impatient play by me, but I guess it doesn't affect that much, but it definitely is, I would consider suboptimal. So we put most of the items on our Viego. He's got the Titans, he's got the JG, he's got the Bloodthirster. Not best in slot. Best in slot would probably be Gunblade over the Bloodthirster, and then maybe like a hat over the Jeweled Gauntlet. But overall, like semi-solid build, especially since we had so much HP. We got a lot of value from kind of slamming those items. On our ergot, perfectly fine details there, like Ox Force, Runons, Gunblade, both very good options. And then our fiddle is going to be the Ionic Spark holder for now. Off this carousel, we go for the Aphelios. Getting something like a Chalice of Power is really good whenever you have a Viego that doesn't have a Rabadon's. We win one round and then lose another, but it was a pretty small loss. So we're at 50 health, but we also saved up our gold. So we have 50 gold at level 9 again, and we're going to get a rich get richer. Maybe we get up to 60 gold here. Almost. We're at 59. Maybe I should have sold one of the Fioras to get up there. But we get our new options for items. Maybe we want the Jeweled Gauntlet for our Fiddlesticks. I feel like we want to itemize him out because he is 2-starred right now. Maybe a tank item could work also. Maybe a Rage Blade on our Aphelios if we end up putting him in the backline. But itemizing your 2-star Fiddle seems like a no-brainer to me. I end up taking too long picking my items that I run out of time, so I'm literally 69 gold on stage 6-1. You should roll probably to 0 at that point, at least down to 30, you know, because you could argue like, oh, I still have 50 health. Maybe take it a little slow, but roll down to at least like 30 or 50 because like even though we won this round, you don't want to be having too much gold in the late game because it just really isn't worth that much anymore. It's kind of like inflation, like, you know, throughout the TFT game, like gold is just worth a lot more in the early game than it is in the late game. But actually, that's not really like how inflation works. Let's just pretend that the reference worked, all right? But let's roll down now. We kind of want 2-star legendaries. Maybe get the 2-star ergot, but we're rolling a lot of gold at level 9. I'm very surprised we have not hit yet. Like, we get the Leona, but we don't really care that much about her because she has no items. Would you sell the ergot, put the Ox Force on her plus a Gunblade? You could do that. Not sure if it's like that much worth it because ergot is really good if I do ever get him to 2-star. But maybe the Leona is fine, right? I feel like this game would be guaranteed first if we did get the second Oxforce spatula, but unfortunately that doesn't end up happening sometimes, but at least our Viego's still cleaning. We're in the top 3 right now, and I feel like he should have won this round, but maybe the way the hitbox works, it kind of got changed a little bit. It seems like he's doing some weird stuff right now. I'm just going to point that out there. Still a fine character, but maybe visually not as cool to like watch anymore. But yeah, we get the Urgot 2. Let's roll down a little more. Just looking for like maybe second Fiddle, second Urgot or something like that. Maybe Aphelios 2. If we do get Aphelios 2, I'll drop my Aphelios back to the back line. But Aphelios 1, I'll keep him in the front. Unfortunately, a lot of other players have Aphelios already. Like this person had 2 Aphelioses on stage 4-2. He has a 2-star Aphelios now, 2-star Fiddle, 2-star Urgot, 2-star Janna. But maybe we are still able to squeeze something out. We do have really good items, so that does make a difference too. But our Fiddle gets like kind of eaten up right away. We do end up winning this fight, do we? I can't tell. We have a second Fiddle in the back that's just 1-star. But he actually wins this. I don't even know what happened, but we end up losing this fight. That's a little annoying. So we're at 20 health right now. That's danger zone. I end up going for this chain vest on this carousel so that we could complete our Oxforce spatula. We're also going to roll down to 0, just see if we hit anything. I put the spatula on our Leona. Maybe that helps her kill 1 or 2 more units. We do get a Mordekaiser too, but I really don't think without any items he's that worth it. And I'm not about to sell my Viego, you know? So we're facing off against a Nunu guy. He is also going Soraka, Spellslinger Soraka. That's actually a pretty strong comp. I'm not surprised that this person got into the top 2 or top 3. But I think we make quick work of the Ghost. And then I guess that is going to be at least a second place after this fight. Yeah, Urgot just cleans up, like Viego cleans up. Woodland Charm is bugged on the Ghost board. And then after that, we got our second secured. After rolling down a bit, we do get our Aphelios 2, and then I'm going to move him on into the back line, just because like there isn't really that much else to do with him. There is an item bug to like pop the item off of him, but I forgot to do it. I guess I left him in the front for now, but I think I should probably have popped off the item and then just like have him naked in the back or something. Put the Chalice on someone else, maybe the Alistair or something like that, and sandwich him between my Viego and my Fiddlesticks. Yeah, for some reason, this Aphelios 2 is just too good. Like, I feel like my Fiddlesticks maybe needed to go off in the beginning of the fight. I end up not doing it in this fight or the next one, but I felt like it could have been the difference maker. So, yeah, this person's pretty strong. Even though he has Exiles, he's not really using it on his backline, but it doesn't really matter because his Aphelios is just so goddamn strong in the late game. My Fiddlesticks does go off. He almost kills the Aphelios, but not enough. So we end up taking a second here. You know what? Perfectly fine. But I can almost guarantee you, I think we win that one if we have the support Viego augment. So now I'm doing kind of like a point calculation. Again, we need around 28 points to qualify for sure. 27's a little risky. And after getting third and second, we have 6 plus 7 points. We're at 13, so we just have 15 more to go with 4 games left. In our third game, we start off with silver augments. I'm pretty sure you just go Band of Thieves pretty much all the time here because Cybernetic Shell, not really playable around, and then Thrill the Hunt is good. And in this specific board, it's very takeable because I already had Silas 2-star. So actually, it's either option between the two would have been fine. Here we jam a Static Shiv, and from this position, we're pretty good. You know, I do prefer to have the 3 Anima or whatever, but all in all, pretty decent start. We end up losing the third round barely, and I wonder if the difference between this fight was slamming the rod on Jinx or not. Probably should have done it because she's just going to be my item holder anyways, but look at how close this fight ends up being. Maybe the rod slam does make a difference, maybe it doesn't. This ends up being pretty important because as you can see, we are going to win every single other round in stage 2, so we missed out on a potential streak just because we didn't slam the rod. And now the rod is on her anyways, so maybe we should have just done it from the start. We're also going to be contested Anima this game if we do decide to go for it, so we always have to keep that in mind whenever we are playing this game. Not that we didn't scout or anything before, but it's just something you should always look out for because any 4-cost carry should be able to keep 2 players up. We get some weird components off of the Wolf Camp, so we have a Last Whisper, Static Shiv, or Hand of Justice. Don't really want to build any of these even though we are pretty healthy right now. We lose 3-1, but then we get an augment choice, Tiny Titans, Late Game Specialist, or Luden's Echo. I'm actually kind of fine with the Tiny Titans here, but I do make a mistake after taking it. We all know that health is a resource in TFT, so when you have a lot of health, you should probably use it. I can turn health into gold by just not leveling up here and econing really hard for the next couple rounds. This is especially important because I'm not building any items. This means that leveling up there essentially doesn't do anything for my team, and we're going to lose pretty much every round anyways because, again, we didn't slam any items because I didn't like any of the items that I could have built. So we end up taking a loss here, and then we proceed to go 1-4 in stage 3, which is not where you want to be. We get 2 Sonas, don't really need that. I should probably sell some stuff on my bench. And then we get a sword. We also completed a guard breaker, which is another mistake because we probably should have built a redemption here. We had a belt off of the carousel, and I wanted to use a glove to turn it into a guard breaker for some reason. But redemption is pretty much the obvious choice of item here because we need tank items. And we already had 2 damage items built with damage components. We do go for a transition here. We go into a Sona board, and then I just put as many items on her as possible. We didn't end up getting the misfortune, but again, we could have waited here. We're at 84 life, so imagine if we did not level up at stage 3-2, stayed level 5, leveled up to level 6 maybe on stage 3-5 instead. We could probably have done a fast 8 on 4-2 and roll maybe like 30 or 40 gold. That's actually like very possible, and it didn't really matter because we lost every round anyways. We could also even int until stage 4-5. Imagine if we lost like, let's say we lose these next 3 rounds, maybe 40 life there. We'd still be at 44 health, and that is more than serviceable. Let's say it goes all the way down to even 40 because we didn't level up in the previous stages. I wouldn't even be surprised if we got to maybe 60 gold roll down on level 8 if we waited until 4-5 or something like that. But I didn't do the math. But let's focus back on the augment round. So I could have taken Infuse. It's not bad. I was really looking for Talia here or Zac, the Zac support augment. Maybe even like the Acel stun augment would have been fine, but we end up getting none of those, and then we end up being forced to take Back for Blood. Another mistake there, because imagine if we built the redemption, we would have had a Last Whisper for this Belveth. You may be saying like, oh, that's hindsight, like you didn't know you were going to be forced to take a Belveth carry, but Last Whisper also works in a Samira build, and the only thing really stopping us was the Static Shiv. That was really the only item that didn't really fit with the comp. So if we just built a Last Whisper or just saved the components and not build the Guard Breaker, we probably could have had perfect items for our team because, again, we ended up losing every round anyways because we have Tiny Titans, which doesn't really help you in terms of combat, and we didn't build items. So no matter what we did, we pretty much got 0 value from slamming the items, and that's why we are in a really awful position right now. We did end up getting the Soraka 2, and we end up getting like decent items off this Thieves Glove on our Belveth, and someone else died, so we're guaranteed not 8th, and then 2 other people are very low health, and we're facing another Belveth player. This person does actually have good items though, and he makes pretty quick work of us. For some reason, the Soraka just didn't slap at all, and we end up getting a 7th here, and that is not good. That's why, like, remember that 3rd place from the first game, which I feel like should have been a 2nd. It's very important that you get every single point you can, because whenever you do end up taking like a 7th or something like that, there's always some give and take in TFT, especially whenever RNG is involved. So whenever you do get a good game, you really have to make the most out of them. Let's try to shake it off and move on into game 4. So we get a tier start, and then we get a bow off the first camp, and we also get a Negatron cloak. At this point in the tournament, we have 15 points with 3 games left to go, and we need to get to 28 to make it through safely. That means we need to average around a 4.66 in these next 3 games, which is very doable, right? Like, that's very manageable. But I also want to do even better than that, because if you place in the top 24, I believe, or top 32, you get bonus points moving on into the next day. So this augment choice is a little weird. We do get the availability of the 3 cost and 2 cost augments. So I re-rolled that. Aim assist or Raider spoil is really good here. Unfortunately, I scouted before, and there was like, I think 2 Kaisa players or 2 potential Kaisa players. So I end up not going for this Raider spoil, even though I probably should have taken it. After that, I end up going for a Spirit of the Exiles, which is a big mistake. I had not practiced Laser Core. I really should learn this comp, but this is just not the spot for it. Like, I don't even have 3 Laser Core on my board yet. I have no Laser Core units, and this game is just looking like an 8th already off of that decision. You now may be wondering, why did you pick that augment then? This is one example of when data goes wrong. So Spirit of the Exiles is one of the best performing augments at stage 2-1, and it's like not even close sometimes. And because of that, I'm like, oh, it's good. I have a Renekton. Let me go for it. No, don't do that. Don't listen to data so much, guys. Like, people really overvalue data, and I'm one person to really like criticize that too. So for me to be making this mistake is very, very ironic and bad. I can blame bad luck all I want, but I did not even end up getting 3 Laser Core until stage 2-7. Like, yeah, it's unlucky that I didn't hit Renekton 2, I didn't hit an Ashe or something like that, or even like a Courtesy Senna, but whenever you go for a team composition when you don't have the units for it, you're kind of asking for it, you know? Like, even though it's very unlikely that that happens, you're still leaving things up to chance, which just isn't what you're supposed to do. So we get a lot of items here, a lot of choices. So I think Sunfire Cape is probably one option. And then after that, the other items aren't that great. So we have the Static Shiv already, so we don't really want to be building this Ionic Spark unless we're playing for like 6th place. I end up building it anyways, and then on this next thing, we get Component Grab Bag, Phony Frontline, or Axiom Arc. And then here I'm thinking, oh, I need Zed items. Let me go for the Component Grab Bag. And it ends up being a little weird because after we click it, and maybe I should have re-rolled here or something like that, we get more like non-sword items. You really just need swords whenever you play Laser Core. And again, that's another reason why taking the Yasuo augment was a big mistake. Because just look at this. It's just, what can we do from here? Not that much. I guess you just build a Titan's Resolve, pray for a Hextech Gunblade and Edge of Night, and hopefully that's going to be my Zed later on, if I hit him. Despite hitting a Nyla 2 relatively early, we actually end up losing 4 rounds in stage 3, which it's not where you want to be. Luckily, we end up winning this round, but is that even a good thing? Because maybe we would have wanted the 5 loss streak going into the Wolf camp. So our econ's not the best. We don't have that many good units. Our items aren't the best. This game is not where you want to be. We did end up getting an Edge of Night off the carousel though, so maybe we have that going for us. We also get the sword for the Hextech Gunblade, so actually maybe it's not looking that bad. Let's do our roll down. If we do just luck out, hit Z2, that's probably our only saving grace, because like at 48 life, without Laser Core spat, this comp is just so bad, right? So we need to kind of high roll because we played this without any of those like Laser Core spat type of things. We do end up hitting the Zed. I'm going to put the Shiv on the Belveth and then the Gunblade on the Zed, and then hopefully swap this Titans onto him later. But we don't want to sell our Nyla 2 right now because she's our only upgraded unit that is like a 3 cost or higher. The other upgrades we have is Ashe 2 and Yasuo 2. Not exactly, I guess Renekton 2 as well, but not exactly like big bombs at this point in the game. And look at this, our opponent has Samira 2-star with Last Stand. So like, even if we beat them now, like they're just in such a good shape going into the later parts of the game. But of course we like don't even beat them. So they're down an augment and they're still beating us because, I mean, they just have a Samira 2. Do you guys want to hear my rant during the game? All right, I'll play it just for you guys. There is like a cringe and volume warning, but you know, it is what it is. Not the worst roll down. Pretty decent, actually. Okay, do we get rid of Nyla? She's our only 2-star right now. Wait, but this guy gets Samira too. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do against that? You're actually kidding right now. I thought my roll down was good. Like, this guy just gets Samira too. Like, holy shit. And he's got Last Stand. Like, what the fuck is this game? And he's got a Toma Trace just chilling on his bench. Like, holy fuck. How lucky do you have to get? Best in slot items too, by the way, so he's just forcing that from the start. Like, holy fuck. All right, let's get back to the game. So, Gold Augment. Do we need any of these? Portable Forge, not that great in a Laser Core comps because items don't really matter in this. Knife's Edge, hard to use because we're kind of spread out. Implants, not that bad. Could we do better? Probably. But if you take it, like, it's probably decent here because we also do have a Belveth. We apparently have Senna 2 now. We have a lot of item holders that we could kind of spread the love with. But if you rerolled, maybe I should have tried to reroll just to hit like a Laser Core emblem or something like that because it really is like a lot better. We do end up selling the Belveth because 4 Duelists may be a little more helpful right now. But this game is just like Giga Doom pretty much. Like where do I even start? Like, you really need Z2. The issue with Laser Core is that if you have good items, like Z2 is really required, especially if you don't get Laser Core Spatula. So essentially what that means is if you don't have like a lot of extra swords, you like shouldn't go for this comp. The power of this comp comes from either having a Z2 that whacks everyone down or from having like a lot of Laser Core traits, which does a lot of damage for you. We have neither, so it's like, yeah, that's why we're getting dump truck this game, essentially. And it's really bad. Remember how we needed to average 4.66 before? Well, after this game, we do end up winning this fight, but like, I'm going to spoil it already. We bought for this game, no surprise. We essentially can't think about going for those bonus points anymore from doing really well on day one. Instead, we just have to try to do everything in our power to just kind of qualify for the next round. So we do our roll down here. We get the Zoe. Zoe's pretty good for Hacker, for our Zed. Again, if we get Zed too. Not happening, apparently. Do we get a Sejuani 2 at least, like a Courtesy Sedge 2? Not looking like it. Maybe a Courtesy Mordekaiser. I don't think so either. But we have like a bunch of different items. We probably want to build like, I guess we went for Zephyr plus the tier. If I didn't have Cybernetic, maybe I just build the Redemption on the Sejuani. But I guess having like a tiny bit of attack damage on Yasuo isn't so bad, especially since we do have 4 Duelists. He probably does end up autoing a bunch. But against this person, Kaisa 3, is he stronger than us? Because his tanks kind of suck. So maybe, oh no, Zed just got popped. So maybe we still win this, yeah, because he has no frontline. You need to have a balance of frontline and tankiness whenever you play Kaisa. Let's go back into the in-game audio. This is what I mean. Like, again, like that's why I really stress again. We really needed to fucking win one of those games earlier. Because bullshit like this happens and then you're fucked. Like, you're fucked, you're just back in the same exact spot. Like, at least we face him now before his last stand proc, so this is low-key a good thing. It's not good as their Zed, kind of doing nothing that whole fight. Okay, we finally killed off a unit. Okay, not 8th, not 8th. Wait, he lost? Oh, not 7th. Hell yeah. For this game, that's good. Fuck it. Kill this guy. Holy. Yes. Good. Jesus. Why do I have to celebrate about a 5th? Because everything went just so badly this game. It's actually just nuts that this happened. Like, I'm not even Zed pair. Why am I even rolling? I shouldn't even be rolling right now, but I'm gonna die anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter, does it? Like, Jesus, man. It's just so frustrating sometimes. Not sometimes, all the time. Alright, I don't know about you guys, but I'm loving the in-game audio, like, back and forth, you know? It's just so funny. But yeah, I did have a point there, like, I don't have Zed pair, so it's like, what's the point in rolling? I guess maybe I could play Belveth 2. What would I even replace for Belveth 2? Maybe the Vayne or something like that. Drop down to 2 Duelists. But yeah, the game's just over right now. I don't know how we got a 5th here. Maybe the other people were just like so worse. And it's always 5th because the guy in 5th right now, he has last stand. So like he has 2 lives and his team's really strong. So we just die out here. He doesn't even get to proc his last stand. And then we rage quit out of the game. But yeah, a 5th incredibly good for that game, especially since we just should not have even gone Laser Core. Going into the 5th game, do you guys know what Deja Vu is? We are essentially in the same exact point total we were in the Defender Cup at the same exact point starting game 5. So we have 19 points, which just means we need to average a 4.5 to get into the next round. We start off with a Rod, so we get our comfort pick, we get a good Talon start, and so far everything all good. But then we see our augments, Heart Crest, garbage, Admin Crest, garbage, Electrocharge, takeable, And then we get the option of Laser Core, Prep, or Ornn item. So here, Ornn item is really good at the start normally, but we also only have 2 items. So maybe we should have taken a Prep early on. But the fact that 4 out of the 6 augments, in my opinion, are untakeable, I wasn't in the best of moods after this point. So we take Portable Forge. It's really good. So at least we get 2 options that are good. And we get Zonia's Paradox or Infinity Force. And I'm down for the Zonia's Paradox because it is one of the best Viego items. I do make one mistake though. You guys may notice we have 4 copies of Talon, and for some reason I leveled up even though we only have 2 item components, so that means we have a gold start. So what I should have done instead was just wait and maybe see what happens in the first 2 rounds and then decide to level up afterwards. Because we don't slam the item early, because we're not going to build a locket and we only have 2 components instead of the usual 3, we have to play a little bit differently, and I failed to recognize that this game. This very easily could have just been a preparation Talon reroll game, or even just a Zonia's Hourglass Talon reroll game. And then you don't always have to force it, so if we don't get additional copies of Talon, we could just play regular Oxforce, but there's one difference in that we'd have a lot more gold, because again, whenever you only get 2 item components at the start of the game, or starting at stage 2-1, it's very hard to win streak because other people will just have more items than you. You know, there's not really too much else to say about that. Like, yeah, I could complain about getting unlucky because we did not get any econ augments, despite rerolling, but there was still some things in my control, and that was I could have just played it a bit slower than I did this game. So already, like, I'd say this is like a medium-sized mistake, not like a super major mistake. I'm not going to lose the game from leveling up, but it definitely is not optimal because look, we went 1-2 and we lost against a guy with an econ augment. So it's just like he didn't even build items. So our board was just like piss weak. We just shouldn't have done that in the first place. So we do have the chain vest. We do have the rod. We want either a Hextech Gunblade or a Sunfire Cape here. If you're win streaking, Sunfire Cape's probably better. If you're lose streaking, you probably want the what's it called? The Gunblade. And we do end up getting exactly just that. We end up going 1-1 in those 2 rounds. And then we get a rod off here, which is really nice. We get a tier, which is pretty good. We could go like MF maybe. And then we also get a belt. So you could either just like, it's probably just Sunfire all the time. And then after that, you could kind of, maybe you could have done Redemption and then go for Viego, save the chain vest for a Titan's Resolve. Lots of different options you could do here. But yeah, we end up getting a lot of Talons, but it's a little too late for Talon reroll at this point. The augments were a little weird. So I actually thought that this Jinx augment here was the carry Jinx augment. And I wanted the support Jinx augment, and it's right in my face here. So I don't end up taking this. I could have also went Hextech Retribution, which is probably the correct choice here because Zonia's Paradox is just like the best Viego item ever. So I don't know why I skipped over both of them. But then we get Excited, and I thought this was the support Jinx augment, so we go ahead and click on that, and it's actually the carry one, and I didn't realize that at the time. Despite all that, it's still a mistake. I should have just taken the Camille augment and forced Viego from here because again, I pretty much have perfect items for him already. Instead, we're doing a Jinx reroll, and I make a mistake again. Not only do we not have like no copies of Jinx, but like I should have just waited to level up at 3-5 instead of 3-2 and just kind of econ up during this time because yeah, it's just not worth it to do. If we had like a Mana Zane instead of a Zonia's Paradox, then yeah, you could probably do a Jinx reroll and it would have been fine. But since we have the Zonia's Paradox, like I just have no idea why we went for this build because it's just, yeah, it's not a bad item on Jinx or not a bad item on MF, but it's just not like, it's not a Mana Zane, you know? It's nothing like insane to like force with, you know? So Viego is very forcible with the Zonia's Paradox. It gives him an invulnerability and a lot of AP. It's essentially Edge of Night and Rabadon's Death Cap combined. And that's exactly what Viego needs because he actually really enjoys the effect of Edge of Night. It's just the fact that it gives stats that he doesn't care about, which makes him not build it. So we go ahead, swap this out. We also should have put the items on Jinx the round before, but I hate to break it to you guys because remember how I said that, or in the title, it says that this was a miracle run? If we just need to average 4.5 in the last 2 games, there's nothing really miracle about that, is it? So we have not seen the tragedy of this game yet. So we're going to do a roll down right now. We're going to try to go for this Jinx 3. Do I want Nyla? Probably not. I guess you could complete it for fun, but you probably don't want it. So we're just really rolling for Jinx. Maybe we get an Nasus or something, or Sylas 3. along the way, and hopefully like maybe one copy of MF. Also, we have too many damage items, so we really need this MF because we have like great items for her too. This was just like clearly a Viego game, but I'm going to use Silas as the item holder and probably call it a day from there. Maybe we'll just sell him with the extra copy. We face off against a person who was he underground or something like that? I can't really tell, but he has the Vibe boxing lessons. He's got the Samira, so he's in a pretty good spot. He also has like great tank items. We do end up getting a second copy of Silas, so as soon as we get MF, we could swap the Silas items over onto her, and then the Sunfire Cape onto the Riven. But we do end up taking a pretty big loss this round, so we're at 37 life. It's about to be like, I think 27. No, like 24 after this. 23. Oh dear, we are not in a good spot. So maybe the augment saves us. I don't even know what augment could save us here. Not Recombobulator, but I guess it's a makeshift armor because we do have a lot of damage items. So we get a bunch of copies of Jinxes there, and we have 50 gold to roll down with. Surely we hit, right? We're one off now. We're going to go in, and I guess Zoe's pretty good. I should roll more here because you're only one off. We have Riven 2 already, so we don't really need that. And then how much gold did we have when we were like one copy off? We get Nasus apparently, but we don't really care. And then we just don't hit. And I'm wondering, why is this the case? And you guys will find out right now. But yeah, sell the Silas, swap the items over onto the Riven. I don't know why I'm not putting that Silas in right now, by the way. Yeah, I guess I didn't know who to put out. But yeah, we have one off, and no one really plays Jinx, right? Like, there's just no way. But you guys will see a special surprise in a little bit. So a lot of Samira players. Samira's just the best comp right now. Yeah, there's not too much to say about that. But you guys can already see, like, the Zonia's Paradox kind of not really doing anything for the Jinx. It's just, like, not that great on her. So again, should have been a Viego game. I'm not, like, obviously that's my bad. But we do end up winning this round, which is pretty good, right? Because we're at 23 life. We need to win something. And then we're going to try to roll down again. We're going to end up not hitting. And then here is where I get very worried, because in the Defender Cup, the last cup that we played, in our last two games in the same exact situation that we're in right now, we went 8th, then we went 8th again. And we're about to go 8th this time too. So I'm getting some serious PTSD right now, but let's go into the in-game audio.
Okay, Ionic Spark.
Oh, what the fuck, man? Come on. Jesus Christ. Like, what the fuck is this shit? He's just contesting all my fucking units. What am I supposed to fucking do this game? Like, holy shit. Like, that's not right at all. Every fucking game is just, do you get fucking contested in this fucking stupid hero reroll augment bullshit? Like, holy shit. I had so much gold this game. He's rolling on 7 and he has the same amount of Jinxes as me. How is that possible? I'm level 6 rolling. I only get one more? Sacking like so much stuff? Like, are you trolling? You guys can probably figure out what happened this game, right? We roll down again, don't hit, and yeah, I think it's a fat 8th. Apologies for all the cursing, but like, obviously I'm very heated because it's literally deja vu, and it's the same exact situation that happened in Defender Cup. So at this point, in Defender Cup, I still had that like hope in my mind that like, okay, you know what? If I get first place, I'll qualify. Let me just try for it. And I was still invested in the game, but this time, like, the people that watch this live know I was not invested at all after this. I pretty much just gave up on the whole tournament. My strategy going into the next game is just go for this bow. If we get it, just force Samira. I did not get it, so I go for a rod. And then I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like, we had a good run. Let's just like finish out the last game. We needed first or nothing. That's pretty much all there is to it. Pretty unlikely unless we get something stupid. But yeah, also like there are a lot of other clips that I could have played that were like pretty funny in the whole like rest period between this game and the end of the last game. But I think you guys got the picture of what happened. Essentially, what people do in build different comps is they do play Jinx in the early to mid game as like an item holder. But in build different, you obviously go for aces. That's like the most popular comp. You run 2 or 3 ace, and that way the synergy does not activate. However, this person decides to go for Jinx 3 despite not even itemizing Jinx. He wasn't, you know how sometimes people use Jinx as an item holder and then you find a new Jinx to replace her later on? That person wasn't even doing that. So I literally have no clue why that person wanted so many Jinxes and how they happened to hit it too. I'm pretty sure they were just griefing me. Like there's no other explanation for it, because if it was like an item holder, like say they put like all their MF items on their first Jinx, and then they're like, hey, I need to find a second Jinx so that when I sell this one, put the items on MF, I still have a fresh Jinx to put in. If that happened, like, yeah, sure. Like, it still sucks. I'd still be mad. But this person literally was just griefing me. Like, I'm pretty convinced of that. So this augment round, pretty interesting. Calculated loss is the best first or eighth augment. But after scouting a bit, I think I saw someone else also take calculated loss or like some other econ augments. So I was like thinking maybe we can't win streak or full lose streak with the calculated loss. So I end up going for the rich get richer. Yeah, I think we see the other, like, yeah, someone took true threes right there. And that gives them like a lot of gold. And so, yeah, it's just rich get richer. It's pretty much the same thing as like Three's Company, but you get to have the 70 gold cap out. It's slightly worse because you get a worse early game. And like, yeah, I probably wanted to play Kaisa here. Maybe we just hit. And probably here, I should have made maybe 20 gold. I'm not actually too sure. I guess we could slam the Rage Blade and find out. We do have the Blitz too. So I guess leveling up here is pretty fine. If I'm forcing Kaisa, I would have slammed the Rage Blade, but good thing I didn't, because we faced this guy and he has Triforce augment, which means he's going to go 3 costs. So thank God we did not slam the Rage Blade, because that really would have seriously messed up our game, because we just would not be able to go for Kaisa. In a future shop, we get both Senna and Sivir, so that's pretty good. So I'm thinking maybe we could go like Sure Shots or something like that, right? We run into the Three's Company guy, so like, yeah, there might be 2 Kaisa players. And he has like double Rammus, he has 1 Kaisa, another Kaisa on his bench, 2 Vaynes, like, holy cow, that's a lot of copies. So yeah, good thing we did not slam that Rage Blade, because we probably would have just lost at that. Not lost, but like it just wouldn't have been ideal, right? So we're making a lot of econ from Rich Get Richer. We probably should not have leveled up in hindsight. Just do full econ and kind of sack the entirety of stage 2. Somehow we're 3rd pick on the carousel. I go for the sword there just to build the gunblade. Keep in mind, we have like a ton of gold right now. We almost have 30. And that is a very good spot to be in. Obviously, it's all from the augment, but like we did level up twice. So if we had like 8 more gold here, plus the extra interest in like a couple of the other rounds, we probably could have been at like 40 gold here and be even more chilling. So I think I've been misplaying the early game a lot in this tournament. You'll see that a lot more later on. And yeah, I feel like I need to play more for the econ starts. And that's probably what I'm going to change most from this week compared to next week. But yeah, at this point, I had already given up, though. I'm looking at like my audio sample from the video, like the recording, and like there's this like emptiness in the whole audio for like every part we've been through so far. I was just like dead silent, just like, I guess, contemplating life or something like that while playing a TFT game. I don't really know. I end up slamming the Redemption over the Sunfire Cape because I feel like in most Sure Shot compositions, Sunfire Cape is very good, but tiers are pretty useless in the comp, so you don't really need to end up, or you need to end up using them somehow, and Redemption's like a very fine item because you're focused on a lot of tanks. If you build Sunfire Cape, like, yeah, no worries. I guess you could build like a Hand of Justice later on, or maybe like a Protector's Vow or something like that, or even just like a Redemption later on, but I feel like just killing tiers is generally a good call there. We end up getting a component grab bag here. I don't know if that's the best choice. Maybe we could have rerolled, but we do get the Belveth, and that essentially saves our game because we get specifically a Runons here. We could also get a Titans. Either item is fine. I reviewed this game with Voidsin. He says Titans is better just because Titans is like just very good on Belveth in general, but Runons is also an incredibly good item for her, so it depends on which component you need to kill a little bit more. I wanted to build 2 items, so I built the Protector's Vow as well, because again, I like killing the tiers in these comps. But obviously, Titans is really good on Belveth because she's able to stack it so quickly. Whatever the case, it's not that bad. We need to save the other bow for Last Whisper, and we do end up losing this round because this guy is Recon Jax. It's like Probably one of the best recon augment holders that doesn't have any other complementing synergy with the comp. So it is good, but it is for sure a bit awkward. We get a 4-cost glove here, which is exactly what we want. And then here, I'm thinking we level up. Maybe we have like 91 gold. And yeah, like you could roll, you could sit. Either or is really fine. If you're trying to win out, I think you sit. But if you're trying to like play normally, you probably roll a little bit here because our whole team is 1 star. We end up putting all our items on Belveth. And at this point, like you're really chilling because Belveth is just the biggest stabilizer in stage 3 and 4 like ever. 1 star is good enough for like late stage 3, early stage 4. 2 star cleans up late stage 4, early stage 5. After that, hopefully you have like a secondary carry or maybe like an Urgot or something like that. And you're pretty much just chilling. Like, look at this fight. Like, it was close, but it wasn't really. And yeah, like this unit is just so good right now. However, since I am turbo tilted, let's go into the in-game audio right now because this dude's board is insane. He's got 50 gold, level 6 Kaisers. Isn't that crazy? Like, if he hits Kaisa 3 really early, like early stage 4, like how am I supposed to win the game? And I do have to win the game because it's like, you just need 28 points to qualify. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Like, that's just like the threshold it's been for like almost every tournament like this. Well, actually, I should clarify again. It's normally 27 points qualifies you, but remember how I said earlier on in the video, there were 2 people who did not show up, so there are 2 empty slots that are just giving 7-player lobbies. So everyone else who did not get a 7-player lobby is just at a huge disadvantage. This is another huge complaint point as well because if you just get in one of those 7-player lobbies, you essentially just get a free point because you played 2 games in those lobbies. And I don't know if you guys haven't noticed yet, I never played in those 7-player lobbies, so I'm just at a big disadvantage. But what ends up happening is that since 2 people or 2 like disqualified players are going 8, 8, 8, 8, 8 every single game, that inflates the point total, which means that 27 is not enough to make it unless you have perfect tiebreakers, which I do not have. So because of all those reasons, you just need 28 to qualify for this specific tournament instead of the usual 27. We get back for blood here, exactly what we want. And let's just roll down for this Belveth too, because that is going to just secure our game. We just want tanks, we want threats. I probably should have picked up MF, but we could go Samira still. Actually, not really, because we do have the Samira pair, but I guess I should have rolled for the Samira augment instead of picking up this Belveth. So I guess that's like the small mistake here. But Belveth, perfectly suitable, but it's just the fact that I had so many Samiras that I should go for her, you know? Like, there's no reason not to. She's just like a better unit in the late game. Belveth might be slightly better in stage 4. Oh my god, look at this Kaisa guy. Like, imagine just hitting Kaisa 3 in stage 4. It's just incredible, right? Like, I don't know how people managed to do it. He had Three's Company or whatever, but he also has like really good items and like really good augments too. But we don't have time to think about that right now. We need to do our roll down because we need this Belveth too, like right now. But yeah, for sure it was Samira augment. I don't know why I tunneled so hard into the backward blood. I'm like scared to reroll because I PTSD whenever I do augment reroll. It's really bad because it doesn't work sometimes, it doesn't mean I should like give up on rerolling, you know? But it's definitely affecting my play because I feel like I'm getting garbage from it whenever I do augment rerolls. But we're facing the guy who griefed us last game. He's playing like some weird reroll comp right now. He does end up beating us because this is where he's like super strong. When you get like Ash 3, Renekton 3, that's generally like a power spike for a lot of these boards, but it should fall off later on. Off this carousel, you either want like some tank item or some secondary carry item. Both work fine. Like maybe for Urgot, you get the sword here. Maybe if you're super greedy, you go for a rod so that you farm more items. But if you want just like pure combat strength, it's going to be the sword. We do get an Ophelio, so it's really unfortunate that we don't have the Samira game here because we would have just like turbo high rolled that. But we rolled down. We're trying to find some tanks because we have like Galio 2, Alistair 2. Those are like the worst tanks in the game. And we don't end up getting them, so a little unfortunate. We have like a lot of pairs. We have Cho'Gath pair, Rammus pair, Echo pair, like literally everything is paired up right now, so I'm feeling a little sad right now. I'm going to itemize a Zac because I think he's just like one of the best holders. And I'm also going to put the Ionic Spark on the Galio because I want to save the Ionic in case we get a Fiddlestick, so I don't want to put all the items on Zac. It's a little greedy, I know, but I'm at 30 live. None of these scores matter unless I get first place. So I'm really just trying to play into that, and I'm literally just praying. But yeah, you guys may already see the contradiction in that already. So back for blood is perfectly fine in like 99% of cases. But since we're going for first place, like there was no reason why I should not have went for Samira and just like rolled for it, even though I had PTSD, you know. Also, this Recon Jax is doing a lot of work. You know, I just realized the Kaisa 3 player was contested and still hit the Kaisa 3 on stage 4. Normally I'm uncontested and I normally hit it around like early stage 5. So yeah, that guy just giga high rolled, you know. But we have this second Belveth. I guess we could play 2 Belveths. And then from this armory, we get probably a Thieves Glove. You could Giant Slayer your Urgot also. That wouldn't be too bad. Maybe Edge and Knight Urgot. But I think Thieves is fine. Like we need more items for our team because we're going to run a lot of random legendaries, maybe a lot of threat units. So Thieves Glove is pretty decent for that. We get a second Belveth, so I'm going to drop her in, going to TG her. I don't know why we're running Sure Shots, by the way. Like, we should have gotten rid of the Sure Shots, like, long ago. I should also use Stun Gun, because, like, Aphelios has no items and is 1-star, and is not really my carry. But we're getting a lot of Belveths for some reason. Also, I should have dropped in Rammus, so you sell Zac, put the items on Echo, and then put in your Rammus. That's the play to do here. But I failed to do that because, like, I was ran out of time. We get tank items on our Thieves Glove on Belveth. Not ideal, but it's not, like, the end of the world either. But the one with items, doing pretty solid, you know. But this guy's got Senna 3, which is pretty scary. Somehow we're able to beat him. Is Senna 3 just like not that great right now? Or is it just because it was a 4-2 Senna augment and that's what's costing him? Maybe it's because he's more focused on Laser Core than he is on Senna. So we do get an ASOL here. That's really nice. We don't have any anti-heal on our team. But I'm really just rolling because we need to itemize our tanks or get tanks 2-starred. Again, this is why you should sell the Zac to get the Echo. But we get like the biggest luck out here. And, you know, I was praying to Mort Dog, and he answered my prayers. We get the 3-star Belveth on stage 5 too. So even though that other guy hit Kaisa 3 in stage 4, we hit Belveth 3 in stage 5. But let's get into the in-game audio. Maybe we can be the high rollers now. Surely we beat this guy. Back for blood, Belveth 3. This has to be the game, right? If not, it's just never build it. 2 Urgots. This has to be the game. Man, after hitting, I'm still not that much of a believer, but we do end up facing this Kaisa 3 guy, and yeah, one unit is apparently better than the other. I don't even know if there's like a better 4-cost 3-star than Belveth. She might be the best one. Some of them do suck, and I wasn't even going for her. I was going for a Zac too, because remember how I said before, like I needed more frontline? By the way, we hit another 2-star Echo, so we have 2 2-star Echoes. But yeah, I was literally just thinking like, man, I need frontline. Where's my Zac 2? And then I just clicked all the purple units in my shop, and apparently sometimes you just get hit. Also, this game was really worrisome because 2 different players had evasion. You may have missed it before, but during the game, when I was playing it, I may have skipped the fight or something like that. I was complaining how 2 people had evasion. Also, the guy who griefed me the last game, he is one of those players that took evasion. And that really counters Belveth a lot of times. Luckily, Belveth 3 doesn't really care about evasion. And we send that guy 5th. And I don't think he made it to day 2. So I guess that's going for us. But like it doesn't really affect us. So I don't know why we should care. But off this little armory thing, we get another Thieves Gloves, because you just need to itemize your Echo at this point. TG is going to be the easiest way to do that. Yeah, you could try to get as many tank items as possible on him, but like the game's going to end. Like we're at 16 health. The first place is at 29 health or 59. I can't really read from here, but we finally get the Zac 2. Really, really nice. We have a Zephyr on our Urgot. We're going to face the Senna person, and we beat the Senna person when we had Belveth 2, so we should probably beat it when we had Belveth 3. The Jax and the Kaisa players are dueling each other, which is really funny, because it's weird that they both made it to the top 4 because they're like soft contesting each other, you know? And we also get a Deathblade on our Urgot. That's probably one of his best items, because attack damage is just his most useful stat. Knock this guy out, so we're in a top 3, but again, we still need first. Someone could get some crazy 2-star legendary board and beat us. But as we are rolling down, we hit another Echo. So then I'm like, wait a minute, we're only one off Echo 3. So I probably should not complete the Zoe because you want as much gold as possible to roll for Echo. And the difference between Zoe 1 and Zoe 2 at this point, I'm just really going for Prankster right now. I probably should have done like a full sell of everything on the left-hand side just to try to get Echo 3, because whenever you're one off at the end of the game, like you just need to do everything as quickly as possible. But I'm a bit of a boomer, so I don't really have the mechanics to do it or whatever. But yeah, this guy's got so many 3-star 3 costs. He has Nyla, Cho'Gath, Rammus, and Kai'Sa 3, I believe, and he's one on Vayne 3. But the fight is close, but not really. If Bel'Veth got CC'd once, maybe Kai'Sa could have cleaned, but the guy has no CC on his team, so it just doesn't really matter. But let's do these final roll downs, and then we do end up hitting the Urgot 2. I should have probably recycled the Zephyr or something, but I end up wanting to keep the Deathblade on him. Doesn't really make that much of a difference because Urgot 2 is Urgot 2. I'm going to drop Zoe in for Pranksters, and then we roll down. We got to do the final ones all the way down. We do end up hitting the Echo 3. Had I had more time, I'd probably switch the Zac items over to him, but like I only have 2 seconds left, so I'm not going to go ahead and drop him on my bench and then like sell the Zac, like pop off the Thieves Glove off of the Echo. Like it's a lot of work, you know, so you don't have time to do that with 3 seconds left, but maybe if I was Faker, I could. And then the Recon Jax guy got second. I'm very impressed by that. And he almost actually kills the Echo, which is crazy, right? Like, how is this Echo this squishy? Like, I get it. He only has a Warmogs, but yeah, like the Jax actually killed it. Like this fight, unironically, was like kind of close. Not really because Bel'Veth's like healing up everyone, but now we just had to pray that the inflated point total because of the 2 DCs or disqualified people doesn't make it so that only 29 makes it. You have to pray that 28 makes it and that we like either or win the tiebreaker. So we're not out of the woods yet, but I guess we could do some more positive in-game audio. Oh my God. Thank you. Mort Dog. Please let this be enough. Please. See, when you don't want to win, or like, no, I still want to win. But if you're not trying to win, the game just gives you a free game. Holy cow, we made it. Our reward is playing TFT tomorrow. So there you have it. We finally completed the miracle run to move on to day 2. And we needed first place there because you look at the scores, only one 27-pointer made it in. And he had good tiebreakers because a lot of 27s did not make it, even though you normally can do it on that point total. But again, because of the reasons we said before, it was a little inflated. So I could not have placed one placement worse. If not, I don't make it. But day 2, just as exciting. So I'm going to hopefully be posting that video tomorrow. So definitely check that out if you want to see the run continue. This was also like a kind of new style of video, so let me know what you guys think about it. Obviously, like the in-game audio is a little cringe and stuff, but like it is what it is. It already happened. I can't like change the past. But yeah, that's going to be it from me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you all later.